Qt Modeler users in the DoD will probably want to change a handful of the default settings in Quick Terrain Modeler. The first is the button bar. Go to the File menu, Options and Settings, Configure Toolbar. The easiest thing to do is just click Tactical Defaults and hit Apply and Close. You'll see things like the HLZ, the search, export to GPS, and so on. The second thing is the status bar. It reads out coordinates in UTM. Simply right-click on the status bar, click MGRS, and hit OK. The status bar turns yellow. Nothing's wrong. It's just simply reading the coordinate in a non-native coordinate system, which is MGRS. The next thing is height colors. The blue to red palette is not as popular as the earth tones palette, so simply right-click on your toggle height colors button. Choose another palette, specifically the earth tones palette, and hit OK. The measurement line starts out as a floating line, and many users prefer the terrain hugging lines. So simply right-click on your active mensuration line, choose mensuration display options, terrain hugging, and hit apply. Now your mensuration lines will snap down to the terrain or to buildings or to whatever you're measuring. Axes and legends can be very helpful. So axes are simply the three-dimensional north arrows. Expand your special overlays folder in the layer tree. Choose axes and legend. Next, display units. If you want your distance measurements to read out in feet instead of meters, go to the File menu, Options and Settings, set display units, choose US Survey Feet. Both your distance and your height measurements are now in feet. You can't separate them at this time in Quick Terrain Modeler. Next is your marker display options. When you place markers, the default is simply a name of the marker. To change this, right-click your marker button, choose billboard style, and hit apply. That puts a white background with black text. You'll probably also want a coordinate and an MGRS coordinate that. So click coordinate, make sure MGRS is selected, and hit apply. Now when you place your markers will have an MGRS coordinate. Lastly, if you're in a very secure environment, you may need to set your temp file location to something that you have permission to access. The default is in My Documents, but if you need to set it somewhere else, go to the File, Options and Settings, and set Qt Temp Directory, and simply choose a location that you have permission to write. So these are the most useful DoD settings that are different from the default settings.